All right, and we are live. Peace and love, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, please like and subscribe. And tonight we are going to be discussing this new phenomenon, not so new, called AI. And we're going to be speaking with beloved Queen SeeAsia this evening on Beyond the AI. Join me and welcome her. Peace and love, sister.
Peace.
Good to see you. Good to see you. How you feel?
Yes, Queen. I'm good. I'm highly.
Awesome, awesome. Good, good. Share with the listening audience a little bit about yourself, because some people that are tuning in may not be familiar.
Um, I'm beautiful SeeAsia. Call me SeeAsia. My attribute comes from a way of life that I have lived. Um, Essentially, I still do in terms of respect
Mm-hmm.
for the teachings. Um, Obviously, those keep going. Our interpretation of what we learn never stops. And
Mm-hmm.
as you mature, everything tends to make sense because you start living your life, and then you see how maturity gives you the ability to be still for a while and actually reflect on what you learn and see how it applies to your life. So, in that essence, yes, I'm still connected, but I lived in Islam, or a culture within Islam for over, and not traditional Islam,
Mm-hmm.
but more so cultural, or what people would say quantum physical, metaphysical Islam, Sufi Islam, something compared to those things. And whatever it applies, because our people created the way of life. They wrote the book literally.
Ashe.
So, I'm just living in that at that time, and that, you know, its inception came in 97 for me, in terms of why my name is SeeAsia. But of course, and then you have your family name. I've done a lot of community work over the last 25 years, locally in New Jersey, on a cultural level within the so-called conscious community. Been a contributor, a humble contributor, but a serious force. Never aspired to really be something that was on I guess what would be a conscious community celebrity on some Umar level, Savvy shit, but to share, I guess once I realized that I wasn't gonna stop being who I was or what I was in terms of
Mm-hmm.
way to learn and incorporate these teachings out loud in my life, I just said I'll just always keep my, thumb to the tune to let people know what that looks like, because I knew it would be genius regardless. Once I realized that I had a way of how I perceive things, I said, "Oh no, I need to keep the public in on how I interpret life. If nothing,
Mm-hmm.
maybe the details ain't none of their business for why or how I get to this point. Maybe I'll share it sometimes, but in terms of how I interpret things and how I see things, and just actually living in the fulfillment of my name, I said to myself, I said, it's something that I'm just going to always let the public know, because you could tell something that's missing within the populace. People don't, they may know a lot, but the application part is when it gets real raggedy. And
Mm-hmm.
have wisdom. They have knowledge. They could tell you a million things, but in terms of how they see those things and how they've applied it in their own life, it's not a brilliant um it's not a brilliant public out here anymore. It isn't. They're messed up out here. So the fact that I want to say that I've kept loyal to the most valuable uh um pillars and laws of life, opposed to people.
Mm-hmm.
People meet me in that behavior and attitude, that is part of why my character, I would say, is the way that it is, because I've stood firm on not being loyal to people,
Mm-hmm.
but what would be the supreme laws of the universe, opposed to folks and oaths and all of that. Yeah, nothing, just something, just in complete alignment, listening and learn how to interpret the signs. So I've been pretty known for that gift,
Mhm.
of interpretation and perception. And I want to say that's what I bring to the whole, the collective, the world and global collective is insight.
Yes, give thanks. Because there is a difference between watching and seeing, as you would say.
Yeah, right. One looker and a bystander, and the other one is actually taking note. You know what I mean? Of what they're, one is looking with their two eyes. Even though these are valuable, they are definitely important in terms of the summation of what we interpret. But we already know it's the rock, it's the Holy Trinity, it's the pyramid. So you need all three of those joints. So
Indeed, indeed. Now let's talk some more tonight about, let's get on the topic of AI, which is a hot topic right now, and it's not a new phenomenon as a lot of people are thinking. But what
right.
exactly, in your interpretation, is AI or artificial intelligence?
Human beings,
Mm-hmm.
human beings are the first artificial intelligence. Um, when whether it was our ancestors, and I believe that it was, when our ancestors started dabbling with genetics
Mm,
and splicing and experimentation with cloning, this is something that's known, and they say in the ancient teachings, but we don't know how ancient it is. It depends on who you ask. If it's from a life form or a source of people that haven't been on Earth long, of course their antiquity could be 100 years ago
mm-hmm.
out here. So we don't know how long this started. This could have started 200 years ago, depending on who you ask.
True.
So for me, artificial intelligence is the beginning of people being born without a parent or two.
Mm-hmm.
You're being born without the man, woman, and child.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first artificial intelligence, and it wasn't necessary. It's not necessarily something with metal skin. They're walking around out here every day.
Mm-hmm.
They have no genealogy. They have DNA tests. They don't have genealogy. There's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they provide these DNA softwares to provide these human beings with a sense of belonging and identity, but in reality, their grandmother stopped at the moment she was born in an incubator
Mm-hmm.
with no man or woman. She was born in an incubator. He and she, the grandfather, whoever, people of their life, their earlier years, was recently in the last couple of centuries made, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and that is artificial intelligence. They're out here having babies. They're out here watching our children. They're out here, working jobs, regular day-to-day folks. But make no mistake about it, 150 years ago, there was nothing or no one that preceded them.
Mm-hmm.
But they are out here functioning and maybe smarter than the so-called organic races, you know. But yeah, that's artificial intelligence. It's not Sophia or Sophie, that Saudi Arabian robot they got walking around. They want you to think that. It's the inception of race. It's
Mm-hmm.
a race before that, right? So when race was invented,
Mm-hmm.
artificial intelligence came.
Mm. Okay. And let me see. The AI that you're referring to that's been manifesting around us, that I would say that's how it maybe started on like the covert level, but it's so many levels to what you would call artificial intelligence.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, and it doesn't have to necessarily even be in the body of a person per se, right?
Mm-hmm.
It could be a person's consciousness based on pure nonsense. Artificial intelligence isn't just the robotics of a man or woman or male or female or the anatomy or biology of that, but it can also be the state of awareness or lack thereof for people who have their whole life, and that's a lot of people. That's I
Mm-hmm.
don't. There's a lot of people that are walking around as artificial intelligence, even if they so-called organic or first races, first nation of civilization on this realm.
Mm-hmm.
Either the idea of what life is about, what the
Mm-hmm.
reality is about, is all under a social construct.
Mm-hmm.
It was given to them.
Yeah.
Their whole reality is based on everything that they've witnessed with these two eyes, not the rock. You know what I'm saying? Not the Holy Trinity, not the visual the epicenters of thought and connectedness. They didn't use those faculties to live their life. They did everything on just plain sight,
Yeah.
and it didn't take much. Just the two
Mm-hmm.
eyes. And so just really been living in an optical illusion.
Mm-hmm.
That artificial intelligence as well too. Optical illusion. When your two eyes are your voice of reason or your source of truth, but you don't
Mm-hmm.
use mind to discern, or
Yeah.
interpret, perceive. That's also artificial intelligence, and that can come from anywhere.
I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah. Well, it's a
So
state.
it's a state of thinking, yeah. So that's deeper than what we said
The
in the
concept.
beginning. Because if you think about it, some of the organized thinking patterns with the religion and the brainwashing and miseducation, that's another form of artificial intelligence.
It is. It is.
Because it
Because
does create like this, like you said, that optical illusion where your sense of reality is just limited to this one base level way of thinking or seeing or experiencing.
it is. And then their truths come from artificial intelligence. So not only do they lack the ability to process information,
Mm-hmm.
so it gives them the synthetic view of life, but their source for where they get their information from are from the people that are
Mm-hmm.
artificial intelligent. You know what I mean? So they already have this tunnel vision of of how they see things. Not only is their masters artificial intelligence, but their brains are so calcified and so demented and malnourished and
Mm.
child, that you got two levels of ignorance, but it's thick. It's layered, and
Mm-hmm.
that right there is an awesome ignorance. That's an awesome hell right
It
there.
is, yeah.
But that's artificial intelligence at that level and degree, and a lot of times, like case in point, that whole Black Lives Matter movement, that's
Mm-hmm.
artificial intelligence.
Mm.
To believe that racism or life or injustice is based on what happened around the second wave of that movement, meaning once they took it from the brothers of Missouri and killed them off literally, and it was given in the hands of the corporations, and then people went along with that. They had no idea the sorcery around Black Lives Matter.
Mm.
It's just so occult, Black Lives Matter, that again, that's when you're able to see these hidden and subconscious attacks because you're using three eyes. The third eye, and
Mm-hmm.
I know it's cliche, taboo. It might even be wicked to some of the people that's listening, but hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
The third eye refers to folks that have the ability to be disciplined or gifted with the discipline to
Mm-hmm.
know better, that what man or what man tells them is not good enough. They are able to be available because there's no blockages, there's no much media. There's nothing much that blocked them from being able to be still and go within the inflection and internal thought process to say, no, this ain't right, and use that gift of discernment.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's what the so-called third eye does, or being able to be disconnected from artificial intelligence's way of us viewing life, from a synthetic group of people, corporations. I mean, these are corporations. They're not even living vessels. these people are, or whatever you want to call these entities
The
that will,
machine.
yeah, no matter what you call these so-called wealthy elite people and these 13 bullshit families and all that, has to do with constructs. They're corporations, so
Mm-hmm.
they're really what they call straw men. They're not even real.
Mm.
Even their occult movements like Black Lives Matter. It's a damn foundation. It's a corporation. It's filed somewhere, right? It's not a chant. It's not a it's not a real value system. It's a business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And there's the power of artificial intelligence right there. People made something a mantra that's a multi-billion-dollar business for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that whatever the bylaws are and whatever the marketing plan and the business plan was around BLM, that was the bottom line. And there's the public business plan, and then there's the esoteric one. There's the one that had a much deeper and darker meaning than people can fathom for why that whole movement existed. But folks stood on it. They
Mm-hmm.
marched to it. They helped paint the sidewalks for it to be in the middle of their downtowns, on their streets. They rallied for it. They got T-shirts for it. They got masks to prove it. And they got fanny packs and everything. And at the end of the day, there was such a darker meaning and reason why Black Lives Matter was put in place in the first place. And see, that's the power of above artificial intelligence, meaning above what we think it is, you know,
Exactly. Exactly.
to beyond AI, rather. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, when most people hear AI, they're thinking about what they're promoting now and talking about, with the machines, the different levels of it, with with the robots, the machines, the androids, being able to talk to the computer or your phone, and they can talk back and reason, etc. But how it when you mentioned the esoteric meaning, for years, and I can remember as far back, I mean, I grew up in the 80s, but I remember in the 80s, the 90s, a lot of movies were showing us, and television shows, that the future was going to be dominated by this, and that it was going to come, a time was going to come that it was going to shift, where society will be primarily ran by the so-called AI, or the robots, or the rise of the machines and all this, and there wouldn't be a physical entity doing it, but something beyond the physical. So how long have we been warned about this kind of technology?
Likely centuries.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that are, these, again, the recital of always these 13 families. Nah, the, the people, let's say in the Bible or in all these sacred texts,
Mm-hmm.
how much are their teachers? And so it's up to everybody to determine who those people were and if their descendants are walking around today.
Oh
And I'm
yes.
sure they are. What I'm saying, in terms of the descendants of the folks that wrote texts that involved things like, technology a long time ago. They're not intelligent enough, these 13 families and all that. They're not intelligent enough innately to have thought of these things.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. These foundlings just came about in the early 1900s. This shit
Mm.
has been going on for centuries. So
Mm-hmm.
these are the intellects behind these high sciences, that had advanced civilizations way before the arrival of the foundling.
Mm.
These made races.
Yeah.
The light's been on, is my point.
Mm-hmm.
Electricity didn't start with Thomas Jefferson and Ben Franklin. Are you kidding me? The light's been on.
Right.
Architecture been in place, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So, these we I mean it's just really ridiculous that folks really get lost in these spooky boogeymen of the 13 families as if they're the ones that invented shit. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
It- like we talking about these family names are dropped in what, the 1800s, the 1900s. Earliest you might get from one of them might be 17, the late 1700s. I mean, come on,
Mm-hmm.
the started with them. Are you guys, but people forget and say we invented these things. Okay, what's the year? 1812. Sit down somewhere.
Right.
Sit- Anything past the 1700s is basically theft.
Mm.
Theft.
Shit. Yep.
Everything that precedes that era in time is between families or lines of species and people that legitimately are involved in the historical brilliance of
Mm-hmm.
invention.
Mm-hmm.
High tech, high technology. So the question would be, how do you get to know who those people are? Well, you got to go to the boogeymen. Go look at the boogeymen that everybody's afraid of,
Mm-hmm.
because there's powerful families in the world. Okay, then go look to who they counseled with,
Mm.
and that will tell you who their consultants were.
Mm. Okay.
And in the 1900s, it was so-called African Americans. There's the boom for tonight. There's the dropped drink on your lap. It
Say
was
it again because it was breaking up a little bit.
it was the Negroes.
So
That's
okay.
the military officers went to for consult. When anytime it looked like they were hiring them in terms of as employees or the first black, no, 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 no. If they were so insignificant, there's no Native Americans that was sent to Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yes.
no Mexican American. There's none of that.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that are perceived as colored or Negro,
Mm-hmm.
the ones that were sent in these missions that are highly advanced, highly
And
military
the clandestine missions.
clandestine missions. So, these are military operations. These ain't just, oh, hey, the black man that went to Antarctica. That's a military operation.
Mm-hmm.
Military don't just mean machine war, bombs, and nukes. It means that there is uh, clearance.
Mm-hmm.
Level clearance, meaning that if something was to happen to the mission, or to the party or interest involved in the mission, there could be a war. But the
Right.
mission is so important, it needs an army to protect it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely.
So, going to Antarctica ain't small, but nobody else did it because the consuls, who are the folks that were considered Native Americans or American Indians at the time, all the way up in those Arctics, whatever, are the people that would be qualified. We were slaves. If we were all of these things, couldn't read or write, how did you know to take us to Antarctica? How did
Mm-hmm.
we build Washington, D.C.? How did
Mm-hmm.
we know to build the White House? How did we know to design the nation's capital? That doesn't come from enslavement. That comes from an advanced civilization, and a lot of this shit was already here. It was
Mm-hmm.
already
Yes.
here. Yeah. It's
Mm-hmm.
absolute nonsense that we felt for it this long. It's just the math ain't mathing of mathing at
It's not.
all.
It's not. It's not. When you start asking questions in history, you be like, something. Like you said, the math not math, and the dots are not connecting at all.
When did Kizzy and Kunta have time to go to Antarctica since they was busy rootsing? You
Mm-hmm.
was rootsing, you was on route. You was Kizzy and Kunta Kinte, and I just, at what point in time in your busy slave schedule did you have time to go up to the moon, had time to build stuff? You was busy
Right.
picking tobacco and cotton. So I just wanted to know, when you all started to leave to
Mm-hmm.
read, how did you know the Underground Railroad was the same path of a lot of the ancient mounds and catacombs across America. The entire underground system
Mm-hmm.
comes. Like, how did you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's all now, but it's not a question anymore. I'm past all of this part. This is the easy part.
Right.
You the my vault, thanks to other brothers and sisters that have been doing some serious work,
Mm-hmm.
on the unseen tip and on the other side of information and knowledge.
Yes.
We are a very mystical people.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't always coming from people that did good, if you will,
Yeah.
and why we are where we are. It just doesn't mean that we have to take it coming from the foundling
Mm-hmm.
of their business, So, but race is a weapon of mass destruction, and it was very clever to
Mm-hmm.
create artificial intelligence by creating armies of um of hybridized people to help keep the ones that are not favorable to one another distracted. Is
Mm-hmm.
a form of weaponry, race.
Mm-hmm.
Real. It's not real.
It's another
Everybody,
form of artificial intelligence, like you said.
everybody took it too serious, and it gave it power, and it's just ridiculous. The power came more in the myth than the truth.
Mm-hmm.
The power came more in the story than what actually happened.
Mm.
That's the biggest gimmick of our entire existence in the last 100 fluoridated years, because the Nazis knew
Mm-hmm.
us with gases and drugs that will help us forget our ancestors, our nanas, and them to forget. Um,
Mm.
things like fluoride does that.
Okay. That's the main reason why they were putting it in the water and the tooth products is because
It
its
has,
ability to make you forget.
yeah, it
Mhm.
has many toxicities to it, but amnesia is one of them. Yeah.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
It helps calcify that brain. You know what I'm saying? And so that pineal, that cone. So anyway, you know, the fact of the matter is that we've been around for a long time, and
Mhm.
our history, it doesn't make sense. You can't build Black Wall Street while you're ignorant. You can't.
Right.
And it was over 100 of them in this nation.
Yes, and I always had that question growing up: how did, if we were all enslaved, how do we go from slavery and then in less than 100 years build these huge metropolises that were ultimately destroyed or we were driven out? Like that part didn't make sense.
Advanced metropolises at that. They're
Hmm.
very. So I'm just trying to figure out, how do a Negro know how to create a bank?
Right, who had no allegedly no education, right?
Not mathing. And this ain't the 1900s. This is the 1800s.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
A lot of us don't understand the history around the Rust Belt, because of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence about what the Bible is, artificial intelligence about what history is, who the people are, artificial intelligence about our own land
Mm.
is the culprit behind our dumbness at this stage of the game. And here people have been taking planes, getting themselves injected with all of these poisons to
Mm-hmm.
try to hybridize new modern nations that are literally a black mirror to America. Every last one of those nations, just about over there on the so-called East, are
Mm-hmm.
mirroring civilizations that that had already lived here,
Mm-hmm.
not in those same names and context and attributes and titles.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been poisoned literally, and but they needed to be us to be alive to study us for at least 100 years to be able to master
Mm-hmm.
and grow a fascination so they could personify what it is that they're studying, which is us. So now you got Japanese kids doing breakdancing, hip hop, go go. Everybody wants to be us.
Mm-hmm.
Every soulful. They got everybody from the Americas is over there in Europe teaching them how to dance.
Mm-hmm.
Making brothers over there teaching them how to do all kinds of dance hall moves. You got all these brothers surrounded by these foreigners and these nations teaching them how to have soul and rhythm, how to dance in Japan, how to dance all across Europe, with these
Yeah.
families of people,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So, it, and I say fouling because it's in books. I'm not making it up. These civilizations and societies didn't look like this.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the facts. The world didn't look like what it is today. So what the hell happened?
Exactly. What happened? Yeah.
That experiment of artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could get out of this episode of the Twilight Zone, but I can't. It's there. This child.
Yeah.
If
It's an
people can,
episode. I feel like it's an episode. You know it, but the majority of people around it are actors in it and don't even know that they're acting.
oh, child. I mean, why would Sophia Stewart, the slave, know how to write the Matrix?
Right.
Something so advanced, a so-called Black American woman who had to endure Indian and Shaka Zuluing and all kinds of enslavement and cotton picking people, knew how to make and create
Mm-hmm.
a script called The Matrix,
Yes.
to incorporate a Morpheus in her script, to
Mm-hmm.
incorporate a Neo and a Trinity and an Oracle. What?
Mm-hmm.
To incorporate clones. She knew to incorporate all of this. So who is her people? Who
Yes.
are her people? What the hell? That's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
I can guarantee all those so-called other people from so-called overseas, right? All those medieval movies aren't genius in their scripts either. They got that shit from somewhere. First of all, they got subjects to inspire some of those Lord of the Rings type, what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
whatever type movies,
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Hemmett said before, and I share this often, where he has stated
Mm-hmm.
that sci-fi and medieval and fiction is our history.
Mm.
Like comic books, that's our history, you know. A
Mm-hmm.
lot going on this plane. And the faces that are the writers of cinema today got their ideas from somewhere.
Yes, the
It
idea, right.
why it wasn't, the more you dig into the archives of this declassified information around how America used to look, what it used to be pre the foundlings, you realize, and the foundlings brought mediocrity with them because they're not source. So they bring contentment with prairies and churches and farms, gas stations and
Mm-hmm.
shops and coffees and bars. The civilizations before this, are you kidding me? Are
Mm-hmm.
creators. They invented everything.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd be spitting up every day if they were alive to deal with the mediocrity of what America looked like today in the last 100 years. These bullshit ass shops, bullshit ass small town, John Mellencamp ass idea of what America is. Oh my God, they yak. And in
Mm-hmm.
fact, when you see these populations study America like they call it Tartaria, just the
Mm.
questions around that civilization, they feel so small. They
Mm.
feel small. I don't, because I know the list of inventors that they give today is just a microcosm of who really invented this world. You
Mm-hmm.
don't know slave invent the heart transplant,
Mm.
brain transplant. Don't know slave invent the game of chess.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
But artificial intelligence will tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Mm.
and claim it. AI will claim it.
Mm-hmm.
The foundling will claim it. because he doesn't come from source. He needs something to feel like he belongs, like as if there's this subconscious resentment for being made instead of created. And I didn't make it up. I'm not, I'm not biased. This is mad science. This is weird science, like the movie. To put a damn doll hooked up to some damn machine wires and created an entity that can live and talk and make you feel good. That don't mean they're real or whole. So
That's
we'll
deep.
show.
Yeah, you mentioned Tartaria. I wanted to ask about that. When does that civilization? Can you like just speak a little bit more on that? Like when did it begin and end?
It's still going on.
It's still going on. Okay.
It's been transferred over there to the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
Hong
this is
Kong.
the source for it. This the Western Hemisphere, right?
The Atlians, the people of here. This is source. People from this hemisphere. You know,
Mm-hmm.
advanced civilization. So, but all of the technology that was here is stolen and now is lighting up Dubai and Saudi Arabia and everywhere else. They're just building their reality. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why nobody's putting that together. These are not ancient societies.
Mm-mm.
The advancement of their light show they got going on and their islands they're building up, that shit been done.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody always talk about how these nations carved Africa. No, they carved America.
Mm-hmm.
They carved us up. They took our gold, take our organs to power up society. They take us to build the world. They take our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
They, our biomatter to electrify the world. Literally, we're dirt cells. We're literally in the NIH and many a white papers and scholarship articles around science for how our bodies are being used.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it's fair game if we're
As
not going to.
like batteries.
We're literally batteries. We're literally in articles that I've posted from sciencecommunities.gov.org that talk about the recycling of the so-called black body, but not the black body, copper races, the electrical people, the X,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So this is look at this girl. I got a email that just came in from AI, open AI to my email. Ain't that something? Just got
Not
it.
no coincidence.
No coincidence. Okay. So that civilization queen, if anybody doesn't believe, first of all, there's, shouts to the white community for being very loyal to holding on to information
Mm-hmm.
about this nation. They loved it while we fell out of love with it. Maybe, from due to the psyop of being black and African American, thinking you were a slave here. So thinking that that's your whole premise here is around slavery. You thought
Mm-hmm.
you were here. First of all, you thought you were kidnapped.
Right.
You thought your people were kidnapped. You thought you were born here on slave ships. You thought all of this shit. And so you were taught to hate America while everyone else loved it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why people see the so-called Negroes being in public, throwing trash on the ground. They're mad at America, but they don't know it's their home
Mm-hmm.
because it's classified. They've been paper genocide. They've been
Right.
wiped by the cursive writing of a pen. They've had their classification changed and then laws created around it and codes to fit the narrative of the misclassification. The whole voodoo and sorcery around misclassification created a hate for home, not knowing their home. They can't believe that the home wouldn't do me like this. Home wouldn't do this to me. This can't be where
Mm-hmm.
you're from. No way. Yes, it is a way. When you become prisoners of war and
Mm-hmm.
you are the Mohicans and you're the ones that are surviving the war, Yes, it's what happens when you stay alive through it. Yes,
Mm,
so that's basically the science to beyond AI,
absolutely.
having a more sophisticated and divine interpretation of what it really means.
Mhm. Does How does the AI pose a major threat to us? I mean, you kind of answered that in the last.
Well, the first layer of it is their arrival.
Mm,
The one that deals with the male or female or the species that was made, as human beings.
hmm.
And so one way that is gentrification.
Yes.
And that doesn't just happen in urban settings. Gentrification is colonialism through the eminent domain of your land, no matter if you're an apartment building or on a farm.
Hmm.
Gentrification is the genocidal methodology around uprooting and removing people from where they, you know, live and inherit it.
Right.
So that happened on the farm front too. That happened in rural America. So their arrival, the orphan trains was a witch hunt
Mm,
ultimately of a whole train system being used starting in Michigan, dropping off children
hmm.
on farms that was taken from us after the New Madrid earthquake. After all, they were just using the technology to constantly create weather patterns that were wiping people out and plagues.
Mm. And drive them out of their home territory.
So many, it was diseases. It was heart machine being used. Remember, this isn't it advanced technology. They used all of this to maybe even use some type of nuclear or atomic weapons, but they did a lot to remove the original populations of the Americas and the earth.
Hmm.
So, when it was desolate, and again, white America covers this. It's just that so-called black America have to know it was them in these rural parts of this, from Canada on down, all the way to the end of South America. And so when they sent these trains, this railroad system up above and underground with these kids
Hmm.
created in incubators, they claim that women were dropping off their children. No, they weren't. Stop it.
Mm.
This is, as one of the sisters said, these are the NICU babies. These are the intensive care preemies grown into
At the World Fairs.
world fair.
Hmm.
This ain't a theory.
Mm.
And so they were dropped off, and then they were groomed by the elite foundlings on these farms and in these schools, turning churches into schools using what's that? The Children's Orphan Society or Foundation from New York.
Hmm.
The school was grooming one another group of people to personify us, like we're literally living in a damn sci-fi movie, Oz, because everyone in this nation, in this world,
Hmm.
is taking a chapter from our book, Living Our Life.
Mm.
There's substantial evidence that shows that this was Asia superior at one time. That means everything from the Middle East to Northern Africa to uh, to Asia. You gotta look at the map of Asia.
Hmm.
It covers England, it covers parts of Europe, it covers the Middle East, and it covers Northern Africa. So when people say that this is the northern annex of Africa, even more.
Hmm.
Um, but when you just look into this history that's being preserved by white America itself, everybody just think that, not everybody, a lot of white people know who we are. They know who and what we are. But because they know damn well that their involvement or enrollment in these tribal associations are, again, corporate fiction. That's
Mm,
the saying. AI, artificial intelligence, is corporations. So when people are living your identity as the Chinese or as a Native American, you gotta look to see, what is it registered somewhere in corporation, in a as a corporation, then you'll know. As a nation, it's a business. It's a fictitious
mhm,
entity. It's not real. It's not organic, and it has no quantum blood relativity at all.
indeed.
You're a five civilized tribe. I bet you belong to an LLC though. Same thing. We think that the IRS or the DMV is a real entity because it have police power. We think that that these are real entities because they have association and affiliation. No, they're just businesses.
Right.
These tribes are LLCs. These people are LLCs. These nations are corporations. They're
Hmm.
not what they say they are by the blood.
Right.
You
Right.
know. Anyway, and so in this history, and where it involves Tartaria, or everything that's already on one side of the world, we're very involved in that narrative and in that background. So are our ancestors. That's why we've been disenfranchised. We had to be duped out of our birthright in order for the people that have power, entities that have power today, to be able to do it. But
Absolutely.
just don't go looking. But it's public information. We're at war with foundling races, you know, of mankind.
Indeed. Is there any, you think there's any way to stop or prepare us for this? I mean, because it's like you said, it's been going on for centuries. It's not a new phenomenon. It's just a lot of us are not aware of it.
Um, it's so interesting how, I want to say, for us, like people like ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not depicted on color. This is based on the work, and literally keeping that that this body clean and the brain purified as much as possible, keeping this connection open to the light and
Mm-hmm.
the, but in that, it's not based on pigment, because our mothers was able to birth every pigment.
Every shade. Yep.
Every shade came from our great grandmother's womb. Every shade and eye color.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same man. So we can't go by that. I don't know about anybody else's mothers, but I know our mothers could. So
Mm-hmm.
show me your mother and your great grandmothers in your photo album, and I will show you what God is personified. Okay. Um, but anyway, just doing the work and being available to this knowledge and this information. There is law and principalities around this work. And so whether it's fighting to have a decent diet, so that's way there's no blockages,
Mm-hmm.
um, living upright, living righteous in truth, even if it's offensive, the truth has no friends.
Yep.
And so it's not loyal to any of us. Because even in all of this research about who and what we are, I realize we come from also a very wicked people.
Mm-hmm.
Our people did a lot of wicked stuff too, and this is why we're here. You know what I'm saying? This so-called white man provide provided structure and order, in a sense, to stop the stuff that we were coming from. And this is what we see in today's time. So there has been purpose in all of this. So the only way I could see, but it's the best and highest way, it's so simple, but yet hard for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
is obedience and discipline to the truth, whether we like it or not, on any side of the spectrum we stand on. No matter what side of the rainbow you stand on, what I'm saying? Either way, no matter what you look like, receiving this information and knowledge for what it is and respecting it,
Mm-hmm.
a way of life that comes automatically. And the respect for history, the respect for knowledge, the respect for information and people's walk and path, no matter how we like it or not, the respect becomes automatically by default like a government of its own. And because you begin to live a certain way of life around value systems, right? Because
Yep.
respect usually generate a value system,
Mm-hmm.
the system that comes as a byproduct of you respecting something. So you do things to help to preserve it. You live, you implement certain practices and behaviors and rituals in your life that uphold what you respect. And that becomes culture, becomes something you wind up doing routinely. And so when we do that for this information that has such a frequency to it, because the truth is the highest frequency of it, it's the truth uttered and
Mm.
repeated and told and spoken. It's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
There's no falsehood in it, right? So when it's spoken, it resonates.
Mm.
There's a resonance, right? A high resonance to it. And it does something to man's soul. That's when you're living in truth, you're living right, because what you hear or what you heard uttered or what you speak or utter has a high resonance. It does something to man's soul. It creates a change.
Mm-hmm.
And a value system is created around that change that's beneficial for all. That's when you know.
Absolutely.
That's when you know. Does the whole benefit from it, even though how we got about to the epiphany of it all seemed offensive, raw, rugged, harsh?
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, because I had to respect it, that accountability creates such a high value system
Mm-hmm.
that once we live life according to that, to how we discover um, the result of a value system from something we respect that's true, then
Mm-hmm.
then that's
Mm-hmm.
how the lies. That's how we dispel the lie. That's how we dispel what we're going through. We wanted the lie.
Mm-hmm.
People the lie, no matter what group you point to on earth right now, they all want the lie.
Mm-hmm.
Even us. I mean, we all want the lie. We want what's comfortable, not what's true.
The illusion. Yep.
And that's the first artificial intelligence is
Mm-hmm.
the illusion and delusion. That's the first art. It starts in the mind.
Yes.
So the lifestyle created around the reality, what's real, what's true, is the system created as a result of you ain't gotta love it, but you respect it. You respect something. You're gonna just move in a certain way to make sure that you can protect it and keep it around you and keep it resonating and keeping it alive because everybody wants something that they can respect. It feels good,
Mm-hmm.
better than what you love. Something you can respect. The only attachment you have is the truth. Meaning what I developed for you has to do with taking it as it is, or what I feel for it has to do with taking it as it is, not what I want it to be. And love will create that illusion. Love creates something that we want things to be or want a person to be. Respect creates what you have no choice to accept or not. You know what I'm saying? But you will because it resonates and it works, whether you love it or not.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I live life now. I live life according to those principles, and it works for me.
Yep.
Whether I like how it come about or not, of what the other side of the relationship that I'm dealing with at the time, whether it's based on race, whether it's based on money, marriage, motherhood, either way, whatever is on the other side, I am working to live a life that I have respect for it, regardless to how it functions or malfunction, regardless of how I feel about it, think about it, view it. I want to have a respect for it because it is what it is, and there's nothing that I can do about it but respect it for what it is, and
Mhm.
willing resonance that I feel as a result of its respect will change it if it's in a negative way anyway. You know what I'm saying? If it's
Right.
negative, I will have the power to help heal it and change it just by respecting it.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Respect is so damn powerful. It's not the easy way to connect to something or people. It's you really have to do your work in order to respect something. Love is easy because
Mm-hmm.
it's based on bullshit anyway. But respect is based on that thing too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is what it is. That's what respect usually is built on. Hey, it is what it is. I respect it. That's usually people respond to and say too. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how we get to our pinnacle of overcoming, I would say.
Yes.
We shall overcome when we respect the truth for what it is, regardless of how raw and uncut it is. You know, it is what it is.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
Did you want to speak on and build on the new technology that, well, it's not that new, but Elon Musk, you mentioned something to me. I know we talked about the other week, this new brain microchip chip or something that he's coming out with, or he
Oh,
just patented or something.
yeah, there. You know, again, we're living in a Black Mirror episode, so
Mm-hmm.
you know, there are folks that want to experience the history that they read about,
Mm-hmm.
that they learned about, and there was an era where gods walked the land,
Yes.
and they were able to inspire an entire world and society that succeeding it.
Mm-hmm.
And so these species of people or robots or AI, whatever the hell these Elons and Gates are, if they even real, you know. But even whatever the case may be, something and somebody wants to experience the power, the life, the script, and the path of what the gods that once lived on this plane experience. They want it too. They want that kingdom. They want to experience the Most High. They want to experience the euphoria around being powerful.
Yes.
They got to make it out of fiction, you know? So these entities such as Elon Musk are just faces for what's behind the scene that want to experience. These are surrogates. Those are surrogates.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask me, those are all surrogates for something pulling that we can't see. Or maybe we could. Maybe it's us. Maybe it's our people pulling the strings. Wouldn't that
Mm-hmm.
be the big boom balls buster? And you find out all of Elon and Bezos and uh, Xi Jinping and all of these niggas from South Korea, North Korea, Saudi Arabia, all the Saudis and you know, princes and you know, all these people are surrogates operating for somebody that look just like you,
Mm.
black or white. But it's
Yeah.
a man pulling all their strings. It's you. That oh, I hate him, and you kind of find out it's your consciousness that created him.
Mm.
Wouldn't that be something? You
That
find
would be. Like
paradox,
you said we walking in a, in a science fiction movie. So
girl. Somebody pull back the curtain and you realize that you story, you ones that made your master. You made them.
mm.
They pulled back the curtain of eyes, and you know, in terms of who made all of this Yellow Brick Road and Emerald City and all this paradise here. Come to find out, it's your ass.
Mm.
You know, so I don't doubt nothing weird anymore about this reality and existence. I just
Mm-mm.
you just don't know. I'm like, if I could think of it, then that means it could exist. You know,
Yes.
somebody pull back the damn curtain and you see your face, your conversation like Chat GB, then got all these ideas in one big machine. And every last one of us got a damn devil that we ruling from the lower pits of our mind. So
That's
let's say
right.
your thoughts is the sponsor for Bill Gates.
Hmm.
When somebody shows, say, who's your parents, Bill? And then they be like, would you like to meet my mother? And then you say, yeah, let me meet your mother, Bill. And they pull back the curtain. It's UT. All of her thoughts on Facebook and Instagram, and then that's what made me. What the hell? We don't know. We don't know. And so shit. I'm just trying to, girl, shit. That's how much, because it just don't. It just seemed like we can't get off this roller coaster, this subway ride.
Right.
So
You just keep cycling over and over again. It's like, is this
my foot get off on the ride, and the damn roller coaster starts slowing down at the dock station, and I'm about to get off. It's like, here we go again. Oh shit, we back on again. Yeah, we back on another ride.
yep, another ride.
Oh, it's
The
another
stuff
damn.
our grandparents and great grandparents dealt with is just the same thing, just cycling over.
Ooh, we child. I want to be like Tina Marie in Deja Vu. She said, "I'm not coming back no more. I ain't."
That's why we gotta pierce the veil, as they say.
Got pissed this.
Break the matrix. We gotta break the matrix.
Got to my God, yo.
Mm-hmm.
This is what the hell's been going on all this time, and ain't nobody damn break the firmament, whatever. Nobody bust the bubble. Nobody went past the globe. Oh no, we
I
got to
think
get.
some have escaped it, and you're not gonna hear about them, or they gonna, give you an illusion of them. I think, because I mean, we see it right in front of us.
Right.
There are some who are exposing what's happening, and all of a sudden they go missing, they end up sick, they come back out, they don't look the same, they're not talking the same, they stop talking about what they were talking about before they got sick.
Yeah.
They on a whole different agenda, suddenly, bodies dropping here and there. And you see the same thing happening over and over again. It's like, are y'all really paying attention to what's going on?
Looping. They call them loopers.
Mm.
Constantly coming back. That's why I say just being obedient. I think the solution to concluding with the chapter that we're living in righteously and on our terms
Mm-hmm.
is respect for why we're here and what we're here to do and what everyone is here to do, while also upholding what happened historically before us. And then I think that if this is a game around those terms and principles about us not being trapped in this world again, on this life again, if there's a such thing, then I think I would like to think that the idea around it is by respecting what happened,
Mm-hmm.
respect what is happening, and being a part of what will happen. Be from the respect that you have for the past and the present, creating what you would like to see
Mm-hmm.
in the future based on the respect for all the things that you have, had, exalted and revered for it being possible, whether it's nicer or harsh. So, yeah, I think that's how we are able to, beat the game at its
Mm-hmm.
own game
Mm-hmm.
by respecting it, respecting that it's a game.
Mm.
You know, we're all in this simulation of, you know, GTA, and we're just being joystick, and it's up to us to allow to give that joystick control of us. It's up to us. Are we going to be controlling it, or respecting the grand architect that is, and then we get to dictate how we move with knowing that we were given these principles from the ground, whatever the case may be. However this game is played, will we leave room and open possibilities for it all, for whatever it could be?
Mm-hmm.
See, saying that just pretty much give you a waiver that, hey, listen, I hold on and clamped on to no idea. I am open to all possibilities for what this could be. Either way, whatever it is, whether I figure it out or not, I respect the outcome.
Yep.
Okay. Shit. Is that good enough? I will, it is. So That's my fine print, and I'm sticking to it because I don't want to do this again. I do not want to hang with the losers.
Oh no, 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 no.
If I have to come back, put me with the winners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, and with that, Queen, we got a few people in the chat room. We got Dia said hey and a heart. Thank you, love. And Sky High Jam said peace and love. Thanks for having this convo.
That's what's up.
That's what's up. So it might be some more comments later after it finished streaming. Did you want to share any closing comments, Queen?
I do. I've said a lot, said enough. I try to get everything in
Mm-hmm.
the times that I do speak these days. Because I am doing my best to be one of the people to manipulate us to get on the other side of how we think and how we see this reality. So I just want to share with everyone that's listening and a part of this cipher that we are in a cipher. We are locked into a ring
Mm.
of lies and truth. The main thing that our goal is, if you were to ask me, is to penetrate through that cipher. It's by adding on. It's
Mm-hmm.
by penetration and ejaculating new ideas, a newfound respect, a new existence, period.
Mm-hmm.
Just just dispersing all of the shit that no longer serves us, the thought process that keep us locked in this sphere of guilt, sphere of sorrow, sphere of victimization and
Mm-hmm.
victim, sphere of ignorance and unaccountability and irresponsibility. It is a sphere of repetitive madness and mania
Mm-hmm.
because it's cyclical and it has no ending until we penetrate it with a committed idea of newness around the respectful life for what it is.
Yes, yes.
Penetrating and adding on to this cycle of shit that don't work. We've already had ancestors that have done this right in our eyes,
Mm-hmm.
that that right before us in our lifetime, that show us what work and what do not work. And
Mm-hmm.
for some reason, everything else matters beside the commitment to have a life around doing things different and studying it. Genealogy heals all things for us
Yes.
because if we commit to studying the people before us who did this already
Mm-hmm.
and worked and didn't work, or who have invented brilliant things and just lived in a magic, and our only requirement is to study them.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we got to do and have a respect for. That's all we have to do. Genealogy is the cure to all things we're going through.
Mm-hmm.
Reverence for the people that precede you. Having a supreme exaltation for the people that precede you. That's how you add on enough. You study them enough to know what worked and what did not work. Because you know their DNA is a part of yours. So
Mm-hmm.
you're bound by default to do what they did that don't work and did work. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, break the damn cycle, create a new script and program, ejaculate with new ideas. That's not exclusive to male. That
Mm-hmm.
is meaning bursting with new ideas,
Yes.
the new path, the new ring. Hell, if we're gonna create a cipher, let it be a new one.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah.
The fact that we still in the damn ice ring, we're in our Saturn return over and over again. Nah, that shit was supposed to pass. We supposed to been through this ice ring of restrictedness around these false ideologies and interpretations. They did it already.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
DNA is the black box. So
Mm-hmm.
genealogy heals all things. DNA is the black box, the Kaaba of your life, with recordings of people who have been beaten by their partners, who have been robbed, who have been addicted, who have been wealthy, who have been in poverty, who have been ignorant, who had no education. All of that is in our DNA. It's recorded. It's in our Akashic records, as they call it.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the recording. And the reason why we keep doing the same shit that our great grandmothers did that didn't work, or our grandfathers or fathers did that didn't work, because we're not studying the people we come from. We're
That's right.
studying. They gave you celebrities in Hollywood so you could study everybody else, because they know genealogy heals all things.
Mm-hmm.
You're not supposed to know what day Beyonce was born or Michael Jackson. I don't know their birth dates. I don't. But I could tell you now my great great grandparents' birthdays, because that's what matters. I need to know their sign. The hell with Prince's sign. Why should I know damn Kodak Black birthday and not my damn cousin? Niggas out here know when the hell Cardi B's baby was born, but
Right.
you can tell yourself you don't know nothing about your great grandmother's birthday. That's insanity, because they know genealogy heals all things. For me to give a damn about what my great grandmother was doing in 1852 matters, opposed to what these niggas was doing in 2022. What my great grandmother was doing in 1852 will empower me. It had, opposed to what Megan Thee Stallion was doing in 2022. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the cipher, you know, add on,
Yep. Add on.
and adding on means genealogy for me. And
Mm-hmm.
there's just, because in order to, I'll conclude on this. The reason why it was important for Negroes to look the other way is because if they were to look in the past,
Mm-hmm.
not the African past, not the Sankofa Bird, Shaka Zulu, West Africa past, I mean their people,
Yes.
their last name, Jones, Smith, Jenkins, Williams. Looking into that past, you're going to come across mayors of towns. This is the fact. You're going to come across coppersmiths.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't imported from no Nigeria either. They were right here.
Mm-hmm.
To know that they were the ones that built the railroad, not enslaved, but they built them. They were the engineers that you understand?
Yes.
So you can't have the Negroes look to their people. You got to tell them they were slaves. Tell them that they were the best people of the slaves that were taken from the West African coast. Because remember, the story is they took the ministers, they took the teachers, they took the
Mm-hmm.
coppers. No. They were already here.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the ones who built the advanced civilization. You didn't take no advanced group from anywhere. That was to justify why they would have the knowledge that they had to build America. Get the hell out of my face. They were
Mm-hmm.
all in America. So if you knew that the people were already from the land and that they're the ones that built it, then we wouldn't be in a position we were in. We had to be told all of these sorrowful things in order to be in a condition, in order to be in the enslaved, because we couldn't be the masters anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Someone came to steal our mastery.
Mm.
So if you know being West African didn't help you or your people, it didn't help us. That's the story we've been given for 100 years. More of our people are incarcerated than ever, in
Yes.
10 times. More, it didn't work. I ain't making it up. So that whole narrative around being African American killed us.
Mm-hmm.
Children are without fathers, children are dead, women are smothering their babies, brothers are shooting each other, they're killing their women, people are overdosing from fentanyl, all of this, drive-bys with AKs. This is what happens when you're African American.
Mm.
This is the curse of being something other than yourself.
Mm.
So if you study who and what you truly are, again, I'm watching the tribe of us being empowered as a result of us studying our people, following the damn family crest and coat of arms around your family name. It's powerful. It's powerful to find this information. It's powerful to see your family in newspaper articles inventing things. from the archives and the libraries of the 17 and 1800s. Pride. They
Mm-hmm.
knew that. Keep them away from knowing that their families were the inventors. So they don't have pride. And so
Yeah.
what do now? We piss in public because we don't have pride. That's as a result of being misclassified. There is no pride if I didn't see myself in Ghana or Nigeria or Senegal or any. I'm not from there.
Mm-hmm.
But you can point to a town in Virginia or the Appalachia or North Carolina, and there's inventions. They burnt them down, they mud flooded them, but they're
Mm-hmm.
in books. Or we're looking straight at it, but we were told that a white man invented it.
Yes.
That pride is what will penetrate the cipher. Just study your people. That's where all the answers are. They invented everything. They still do. So, with that being said, that's it. And that's everything.
And that is everything. Indeed. Indeed. Yes. Well, thank you, Queen. Thank you for joining us here on my channel. And I would love to have you on again with some other topics because we kind of covered a lot of other deep topics too. And the rabbit hole just keeps running and running. So it's like all these roads lead home. So I would like to have you on some more to talk about some other topics.
What I used to tell my babies was, as they, all of them have grown up, nephews and daughter and, godchildren, all of that, just my mentees, everything, is that I've always told them that I'm going to answer you in a way where you're not going to be able to ask any question. I don't want you coming back asking me anything, because then that's feedback from what I'm ahead now learning the next thing. So when you ask me a question, it's an open-ended answer. And I'm gonna make sure you don't come back and ask me anything. So listen now, because I'm gonna say time. That's how I feel. That's how I share information. It's the will that nobody has any questions in the end.
Mm.
You look like a fool to ask me a question after I speak, because all I ask is for people to give me what I give our history. Respect.
Mm.
Respect will cause you to listen, where you won't ask any questions. So I won't anticipate being on this until the next big bang outside in that world. You know what I'm saying? Because everything we covered will be enough encouragement to get to work. Studying your grandmother, Queen, your grandma is enough by itself. That's not even including granddad.
Yeah.
Just studying granny by herself is enough to keep you busy, where I won't be talking to you for at least 2 months. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Just starting with your damn family is enough to keep you busy, where we'll be reconvening after her. Not even all of them, just her. You know what I'm saying? And her lineage. That's
Yes.
not even the patriarch yet. You know what I'm saying? With his life. So that's when I anticipate we'll reconvene. When
Yes.
you
Yes.
be
Thanks.
I didn't got information on on my granny and them side, and okay, and how far did you get? Girl, it took me 30 days just to uncrack her life.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. You do.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I love y'all. For everybody that's in the holiday season, no judgment. They've invented that too. Happy holidays. You know what I'm saying? Knowing it for what it really means. Whatever. If your family enjoyed it, be in the energy of them and the good times of them and their intentions of what it meant at this time. And also being just aware of what it is that you're actually practicing. Practice, have a good time, and elevate and be proud of who and what you are, regardless. So, that Queen, so much.
Yes. And we thank you. Dia says thank you so much.
Peace to the chat. I love y'all for joining. I appreciate you. And yeah. Happy holidays, everyone. Happy holy days. Happy winter solstice. Yes.
Yes. Happy winter solstice. Happy holidays. All right. Peace and love, everyone. Thank you again, Queen.
No doubt. Peace, Queen.
Yeah, stay on the line.